In the movie Coach Carter, there was a player named Timo Cruz. He was kicked off the team because he was using vulgar language towards Mr. Carter, who Samuel Jackson was playing. See, life happened to Mr. Cruz after he was kicked off of the basketball team. When he lost all hope, he returned to the one place that gave him hope, the team. He asked Coach Carter, he said, "What do I have to do to play?" Carter said, "You don't want to know the answer to that question." See, Cruz, he was the prodigal son that returned. Cruz was determined to do anything to make it back on the team. Coach Carter gave conditions that had to be met before Cruz could make it back on the team. He would have to do 2,500 push-ups and 1,000 suicides. Not only was he given conditions, but he was given a period of time to complete those conditions. By the end of practice on Friday was the deadline. When his time was complete, his conditions weren't. See, Coach called Clay at the end of the practice on Friday, and Clay brought his notebook that he used to record every push-up and every suicide drill that Cruz completed. When Clay handed Coach that recording, Clay shook his head no as he pointed to the total number of each assignment that Cruz completed. That notion of shaking his head no, that was an indication that all conditions were not met. While Coach was looking at the recordings, Cruz was fatigued, drenched in sweat, barely standing as he awaited his judgment. Coach said, "Mr. Cruz, I'm impressed with what you've done, but you came up short. You owe me 80 suicides and 500 push-ups. Please leave my gym." See, Cruz, his grace period was up. Although his conditions weren't complete, his time was up. The Bible said the power of time has been given to God and not man. See, Coach Carter said he handed back Clay, his notebook, and he said, "Thanks, Claude," because Claude's real name was Clay. He handed him back his notebook. See, Clay, he's special because his role as a record keeper remind me of Judgment Day in Revelations. Revelations 20:12 say, "I saw the dead, both great and small, standing before God's throne." The throne of judgment for Cruz that he stood before was Coach Carter Gymnasium. See, Revelations continue to say, "And the books were opened, including the book of life, and the dead were judged according to what they had done, as recorded in the books." See, Clay, he was judged according to what Cruz was judged according to what Clay had in his book. Clay was recording everything Cruz did in his notebook, the same way that everything we do is being recorded in the book of life. Coach told the rest of the team, "See you tomorrow." Then he headed towards the exit. One teammate, he spoke up. He said, "I'll do something for him, Coach. You said we're a team, right? One person struggled, we all struggle. One triumph, we all triumph." Then he got down and he started doing push-ups. Another player stepped forward and he said, "I do some too." One by one, every player on the team joined in to complete the conditions Cruz had to complete before he could rejoin the team. Coach told Clay, he said, "Keep counting and call me when they're done." And then the coach, he exited the gym. See, Coach, he was impressed because that was the day his players finally became a team. Just because you got on the same jersey, everybody wearing the same jersey, that don't make you a team. Just because you in the same gang, church, choir, social club, car club, bike club, family or clique, that don't make you a team. When you put down your piece and you partake in another person's pain to help them heal, then you're playing team ball. Jesus said, "You will tell them my disciples by the love they have for one another." In the words of Timo Cruz teammate, if one person struggled, we all struggle. One person triumph, we all triumph. God equipped us with mirror neurons. See, mirror neurons, they're a type of brain cells. They function by reflecting what they witness someone else do. The mirror neurons, they look at how others are feeling and they reflect their emotions in response. This is how we read people. Let me give you an example of how mirror neurons work. With the war in Ukraine. See, in Ukraine, Russian soldiers, they reportedly dressed themselves in the uniforms of dead Ukraine soldiers. This disguise, it allows them to enter and exit in hostile enemy territories undetected. If they're successful, they can exit enemy territories and return with military information from the gatherings of their espionage. See, that's the same way your mirror neurons work. They proceed forth and they search the emotions of the people we encounter. It mirrors their emotions and return to us as the other person's emotions that they encounter. Intuition is the ability to understand something immediately without the need of conscious reasoning. Have you ever met someone and said, I got a bad feeling about this person? That's the immediate understanding of the emotional information your mirror neurons gather. You can literally feel someone's pain. Okay, let's continue. See, there's a difference between all for one and one for all. See, Adam, he was all for one, but Jesus, he was one for all. And we are the teammates that joined in to help finish the work that Timo Cruz started. Adam, he was Timo Cruz. His decision got him kicked off the team, and God was Coach Carter. The gym he was at and had to leave, that was the Garden of Eden. As a result of his disobedience to God, the Bible explains how Adam was all for one. See, all for one means the whole team suffered because of one player's action. To understand how this all came about, we must first look at bestiality. See, bestiality is sexual intercourse between a human and an animal. I know you're wondering what bestiality have to do with anything, but actually it started everything. The first bestiality was a spiritual one. It happened in the Garden of Eden before Cain and Abel. Adam fathered two twins. Their bestiality, see, Adam's bestiality was with the serpent. And his bestiality with the serpent was a spiritual one. And from it came an instant birth of two twins. Their names was Sin and Death. Sin is the firstborn and death was the secondborn. Let's go to Romans 5:1-12. It says, therefore, just as sin entered the world through one man, and death through sin, in this way death comes to all people because all sin. That's why the whole team suffered for one player, all for one. See, sin entered the world through Adam, and death entered the world through sin. Spirit gave birth to spirit before flesh gave birth to flesh. Sin was the firstborn of the spirit. Cain was the firstborn of the flesh. Death was the secondborn of the spirit. Abel was the secondborn of the flesh. So it's no surprise Adam's firstborn of the spirit consumed his firstborn of the flesh. And his secondborn of the spirit, named Death, consumed his secondborn of the flesh, named Abel. Even though Cain killed Abel, the blood is on Adam's hand because he's the reason death comes to all that's living. Sin and death, they're like a BOGO deal. You buy one and you get one free. Cain killed Abel because Abel's offering to God was better. Our sin brings death to what offers better in our life. Cain in Hebrew, it means to acquire or possess something. Abel means to be empty or empty of substance. Many of us are living the definition of Cain's Hebrew name. We build our legacy on things we acquire and possess. See, substance, it has a tangible, solid presence. We have a need to create substance instead of letting the Creator provide substance. It's the opposite of faith. Faith, we heard it a million times. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, but the evidence of things not seen. That means God, by Him providing what we hope for, that's the evidence of Him who's unseen. What's unseen is invisible. And it can be hard to believe in something that we can't see. That's why He said, tell them, my name is Ihiyah. That means I exist. But He who was unseen became visible. How did that happen? See, we made in God's image, but Jesus was the image of God. In Colossians 1:15, it says, the Son is the image of the invisible God. And then in John 4:19, Jesus himself said, I have been with you so long, and yet you have not known me, Philip. He who has seen me has seen the Father. So how can you say, show us the Father? See, we're afraid of being the definition of Abel's Hebrew name, empty of substance. See, Cain's offering was substance, the product of the fruits of his labor. He offered God with the ground God cursed brought forth. God told his father Adam, cursed is the ground for your sake. In toil you shall eat of it all the days of your life. That was the first generation of curse in the Bible. What Cain suffered from was a spiritual and a physical hereditary curse. Like father, like son. Because of one, all of us, we inherited an unbearable condition. See, like Timo Cruz and Adam, we all fell short on our push-ups and our suicides. So right before Coach called the angel to read the recordings from the Book of Life, before Clay could shake his head and point out the shortcomings, before Coach could say, you did good, but you fell short, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave my gym. Depart from me, I never knew you. Jesus, he was the teammate that took one for the whole team. He was the one that stepped up and said, I'll do something for him, Coach. When one of us suffer, we all suffer. I'll do something for him, Coach. Because when I triumph, we all triumph. Jesus said, I'll do something for him, Coach. When he was on the cross, all the sins that entered the world through Adam, they entered him. Jesus said, I'll do it all for him, Coach. When he was on the cross, the death that entered the world through sin, it entered him. Jesus said, I'll do it all for him, Coach. Everyone who is under the law is cursed. Christ redeemed us from the curse of the law by becoming the curse for us. For it is written, cursed is everyone who hung on a tree. Jesus said, I'll do it all for him, Coach. Through Adam, it was all for one. But through Jesus, it was one for all. So the next time you see a brother or sister in Timo Cruz condition, be the first teammate to stand up and say, I'll do something for him, Coach.